Hello and welcome to episode 129 of The Greywoodie Show, your home for all things pipe, tobacco, pens, life, and everything in between. I'm your host, Nathan Davis, joined as always by my rejuvenated co-host, Eugene Falco.
That's a word.
It's the new year, new you.
Yep, new year, new me.
And we're joined today by our fleeting co-host, Jeremy Pipes McKenna. How you doing today?
Doing well. It's great to join you guys here on my last podcast ever with the Greywoodie Show.
Oh, that is the saddest thing in the world, but
Happy New Year!
I'm just glad that we could have you back. So that means a lot to us, even if it is the last one.
Who knows, right? You know?
I feel like there'll be something in the future. I'm not too worried about that, but the idea behind why you're here today does set the tone for how disappointing things can be in the world. How has your new year been, though? Not great is what I've gotten the impression from everybody so far.
Well, mine started off well as far as I've got my old boss's son in town, Nikolai from Denmark again for the holidays.
Nice. Which
was awesome, and my older brother was in town with his wife, and so we had a great new year and fun party at a neighbor's house and to ring in the new year. And then I took all the family up to DC for the day yesterday. And
nice.
So spent 12 hours doing museums and monuments and Capitol and all that kind of stuff. And then was home today, running out to a job interview. And I get out of that, and my wife calls and tells me her dad might be dying, and she has to fly to Florida today.
Yeah,
so that was.
I saw that on.
Yay!
I saw that on Facebook and was a little worried that today was not going to be a good day for you.
The new year started off good, but then it, So, anyways,
spiraled quickly.
I got the kids in bed, and I've got the older, my Danish, I'll say, surrogate son is 22, and my daughter's 17.
Yeah.
And right when you called, I had just got them. They'd never seen Grandma's Boy.
Oh, wow.
So we're watching Grandma's Boy.
You have no idea how many people have never seen that movie, and that is like pure gold.
Yeah, it is.
100%. Yeah. I had never heard of it. I'm a huge Adam Sandler fan. Never heard of it.
Right.
And my ex-brother-in-law came in town one time years ago and was like, dude, you've never seen Grandma's Boy? I'm like, huh? And he's like, it's a Happy Madison film. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, it's been one of my favorites.
Yep.
So anyways, so they're at the part where he's, hanging out with his hot roommates. So right after Laura Croft.
Right.
Those that know now.
Yeah.
Right?
Excellent. All right, this week on The Greywoodie Show, we'll have advice from above, as well as some Panic at the Disco Bacco.
Wow, you reached for that one.
Gotta reach once in a while.
Wow, okay.
If you don't reach for the stars, you'll never know. This episode is brought to you by my Opus 88 Mini Cup of Comfort, loaded up with Jus Herbon Lit de Thé ink. And so I'm smoking a Greywoodie. I've got one of Bill's last of the natural burls that I scored one in the last batch because I knew they might go away because we only had so many stumbles of this weird finish left. And it's not one that I want to reproduce because it's a pain. But in that pipe, I'm smoking one of the many blends that are disappearing from the market that I was not smart enough to stock up on, but was lucky enough to find a few tins left of the Warhorse Bar by, Standard Tobacco Company, which is really just made by Sutliff. So maybe you can shed some light, Jeremy. I know the story that came out when it first was released. So Standard Tobacco Company of Pennsylvania was headed by my buddies Dan Johnson and Simon Thurlow. And they tried to reproduce some old English and Irish style tobaccos. Warhorse was one of them. They did Bengal slices. They did all the John Cottons. When those were first made, they were made by STG for the first runs, allegedly. And they had turned to Russoulette to smoke all of the old versions of it and try to reproduce a newer, somewhat honest version of it. And some things went wrong with STG producing it, and it got shopped around for a while before it landed with Sutliff. But Russ had always claimed that the red, which is what I have, the bar, had the a Tonquin replacement for it, and the green had heliotrope, but otherwise they both had anise and valerian root. Is any of that even remotely true?
I have no clue.
Okay.
By the time I knew about them, I mean, I just knew that Pipes and Cigars, Russ had come to us and said, hey, can you produce these and make them? And we did.
Okay.
So I don't know if we even got a formula outside of, hey, this one's supposed to be like this and this one's supposed to be like this.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's the answer.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Have you ever heard Jonathan talk about anise and valerian root and Tonquin bean and heliotrope?
Absolutely not. Never even heard most of those words.
Okay. That's what I had a feeling. It's a cool story. Either way, they're really... So I do know I got the first runs of Warhorse Bar, and it was supposed to be a plug, and they couldn't make a plug, so it turned into a bit of a crumble cake. And when Sutliff took it over, it was just a flake. It's in the same vein of pressing, but it's just a flake now, and you don't shave pieces off. But I smoked it from when it first came out until this is a brand new production of it, and it still tastes pretty similar. Because really most of it is in the smell, and I think they were able to figure out how to make it smell right.
Well, that's good.
It's a very strange smell.
It's making my nose dry.
Yeah.
It's drying my nose right out. That's awful.
So I will say, it is one of those polarizing blends that people either love it or hate it. And people in the room, it's more like 90% hate it and 10% enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. But it's an old favorite, but I probably haven't smoked it now since I've known you.
I've never, no.
Yeah.
The first time I ever heard of Warhorse Bar, it was because Russ was wearing a polo shirt with it embroidered on it, and you were giving him a hard time about not giving you one.
Yep. He always promised me one, but then he never had one.
Because he doesn't want to give you one.
Yeah, he probably really doesn't now that it's discontinued, huh? Or maybe he has like a pile of them.
He probably had one made on Etsy for him. That's cool.
Yeah, and you know what? Next time you see him, just shirt him. Mm-hmm. Just take it. Just rip it right off his body and run. What's he going to do? Nothing.
Good plan.
Walk around a hotel with no shirt on is what he's going to do. And you're going to have a sick Warhorse Bar polo.
Might be a little bigger than I need, but I'll put a shirt under it.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Make it
Baggies in.
Yep.
You got it.
All right. So yeah, but Warhorse Bar, Bengal Slices, all the John Cotton's blend, those are all gone now.
Well, they will be.
Will be soon.
Yeah, will be soon. I can't speak that they're all out of stock everywhere and there's none left in stock being shipped. You know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
Because it was like, I just saw a comment on Facebook
some.
not too long ago where someone was like, oh, I was trying to buy... God, I don't even remember. I mean, it's like nonstop comments these days. But it was like, I was trying to buy X and it's all sold out. I missed it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I mean, yes and no, meaning like, as an example, if you went to tobaccopipes.com today and you tried buying, I'll just say 515, RC1, right? Your Red Virginia. And it's out. That doesn't mean that and I'm not saying we're going to, but we could have some in stock. We just need to ship there. Or to another, company, or that we're not going to still make some more before we're done making tobacco in 2 months.
Yep.
Right. So, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it might be out today, but if it's something you really want, then keep looking because it might show back up and then be gone again, right? Yeah. So it's not like if it's gone. I would say in another couple weeks, if a McBaron produced tobacco is gone, then it's probably gone forever.
Okay.
Right, because we're not getting any more, and maybe we're kind of getting ahead of the conversation, but we're there. So like right this minute, as an example, if we have 500 cans of roll cake left, right? Mm-hmm. Smoking pipes might be sold out right this minute, but that doesn't mean they don't have an order sitting there and we just haven't shipped it yet, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's going to show back up, but that might be all of them. Then when they sell out, they're out. Mm-hmm. Or they could just order 100 of the 500 and get it and then order more. Right, there's going to be products coming and going in and out of stock for the next 2 months, basically. So I would just keep an eye out because, again, Sutliff's still producing. However, we're running out of stock of lots of stuff, so not everything will come back for sure.
Yep.
We just don't have the time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on a limited time frame, and you can only make so many more products. So no idea what they'll be, but some of them will show back up and some won't.
Correct.
Perfect. which means everybody gets to go hunt all the different retail websites and keep an eye out for everything.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I know people are going to be like, that's bullcrap and it's all contrived and the man's just trying to work and play with our emotions and everything else.
Yeah, but that's not
it's
what it
really not.
is.
It's just the nature of, I mean, as an example, if we run out of making something up with like cherry cobbler and we get an order and we have time to go run 50 pounds and we'll run 50 pounds of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if there's, 500 orders in there, like blends like that, then we might not get to all of them.
Well, Eugene is a huge fan of Warhorse Bar, I'm sure.
I think this might be the first blend that you've ever smoked on this show that I'm banning from the studio. That is offensive, and I cannot say without checking the little box that says adult content what it actually smells like, but it is wretched. Wretched.
But maybe it has all that stuff in there then that they
right? What, valerian root and anise and a bunch of...
I didn't say it. I was repeating Russ's comments on the Pipes Magazine forum.
Well, maybe it does have it in there. I mean, I don't know.
Oh no, yeah, we didn't say it doesn't. We just you don't know.
Absolutely foul.
And I doubt Jonathan wants to take the time out of his day to tell me whether that's what's in it or not.
Sounds like you're smoking baby powder.
Mm-hmm.
And some burnt hair. That's not... That is awful.
Yeah, my family was never a big fan of it. I love it. It gives me private time. People leave me alone when I smoke it.
Well, unfortunately, I can't go anywhere. So...
Yeah, bye, Eugene.
I'm about to pass out.
Why would we just make Nate leave?
Yeah, go home.
Okay.
I got this.
Fair.
Give me your notes. Anyway.
Eugene and I can just stare at each other in awkward silence for an hour.
Yep. That works.
Yep. That's why I excel at that.
So yeah, I guess we've already kind of alluded to why we have you here. We're not going to talk about the letter. The letter is out there. Everybody can read it. So I don't think we need to go into too much detail about that. From a personal standpoint, one of the biggest reasons I wanted you on the show was first to clear the air a little bit, because there's been a lot of accusation made and I guess talk of mismanagement and why things went the way they did. So I think it's important for everybody to hear that you had literally no part in the decision making that went into who bought or how things would move forward Sutliff Tobacco Company. Is that fair to say?
That's very fair to say. I mean, myself nor my boss, who's the CEO of McBaron, had anything to do with who bought our company. In fact, we were just as shocked as everyone else. Obviously, we found out ahead of time.
Yeah.
Before everyone else did. But, along the same token, we were very shocked at one point to hear that it's basically like Sutliff's owned by McBaron, who's owned by Halberd Group, who then, after our owner passed away, his ownership went to a trust, right?
Right.
So that trust was really controlling the company, plus the family that still owns some of the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like levels, 2-3 levels above me, let alone, my boss was Simon, the CEO of McBaron. His boss was Frederick, the CEO of Halberd. And then there was a trust/board above him.
Okay, yeah.
And that's where the decision was made, and they didn't include either of us.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's important for people to realize when they start asking which blends continue to exist and which don't. All of those decisions were made on higher levels like that, and then after the acquisition was announced, then by people at STG and people way above you.
Yeah, and I would say with blends being kept or not kept, again, it was not my choice. That was not, I provided data, I provided information, but I was not the one saying, keep this, don't keep this, do this, shut down Sutliff, don't shut down Sutliff. Like, those decisions were made, above my pay grade, okay?
Yep.
But along those lines, things that would be taken into consideration that people might forget along the way is that, there's this thing called the FDA.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard of it.
We really haven't talked about it in years, for the most part. Right?
Yeah, because we hope
was
that if we don't mention them, they go away, but that's just the way it works.
And, I would say that there's probably a lot of smaller companies, Sutliff may or may not have been part of it, that was playing in gray areas or just not even acknowledging the FDA in some case. Not us, but other companies. Right?
Oh, yeah. The
or
smaller
other
ones that
blenders
could
or
get away
other.
with it, yeah.
I mean, let's put it this way. If there is technically a new blend on the market, it's probably really illegal by FDA standards, right?
Yep.
I mean, if you really look at it. However, does the FDA care? No. Are they ever going to get caught? No. Right? Like,
Yep.
it's just, so why not? Right?
Yeah.
If you're them, whoever them is, okay?
Yep.
However, if you're a big publicly traded company, guess what you care about?
Yeah.
The FDA.
The
Yeah.
government.
Right? Like, it's about you
Publicly
do things
traded
right.
and the size of your market changed that a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and you're publicly traded and you do things 100% correct, and that's just a way you conduct yourself, right? There is no gray area. It's not a single owner that's able to take a calculated risk, right? Like, that's not the way outside of like Enron and a few other like bad corporations, right? Like, you, as a corporation, you don't take those risks. You don't take calculated risks that are illegal or immoral. And I'm not saying that making your own blend is immoral, right? I'm just saying that, like, you play by the letter of the law and sometimes even take it a little too far,
Right.
because you don't take the risk, right?
Yep.
And so with that being said, I mean, you have this FDA thing out there that, there's a lot of Sutliff products, a lot of McBaron products that are not grandfathered.
Yep.
The FDA hasn't approved any SEs, like full SEs, meaning it's not just a package quantity change, right? They haven't even approved a package change. So if we've had it in a pouch and put it in a metal tin, they haven't even approved that. Keep asking for a water stability test and shelf life and all these other tests on it.
Wow, yeah.
And they still haven't approved them.
Wow.
Right now, there's rumors they've been asking some of our competitors for smoke tests on pipe tobacco, stuff they asked on cigarettes, and
Jeez.
chemistry, smoke chemistry.
Wow.
Like they're not being nice, but you guys don't see that, you don't hear that, you don't need to.
No, yeah, it's
Right?
well outside of our purview normally.
But there's a lot to it. So now you're a big corporation. You're gonna follow the letter of the law. Well, I mean, and technically, what everyone should, right?
No.
Like, okay. And so you take that and you say, well, there's all these products that are not grandfathered. So we have to spend some money trying to defend them, and is that worth it? Right? And then you also look at sales and say, okay, look, how much are all these sales? And do we want to run a plant in the U.S.? Right? Because don't forget, things that are not being talked about that I don't even know if it's ever been mentioned, the FDA has come out with, and they haven't finalized the dates around them yet, but they have come out with manufacturing standards for tobacco manufacturers.
Yeah.
Like, those are coming out. Those are going to come up due, depending on when they're finalized in the next few years. And there's going to be a huge cost to comply with those potentially.
Right.
Like, and it could be like millions of dollars, right? Well, our industry isn't that big, right? And Sutliff is a very old plant.
Right.
Like, so to get Sutliff to comply with these potential manufacturing standards might cost a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. So now you couple a whole lot of money in manufacturing standards, you couple FDA status, and then you couple, when you take, Sutliff in general was selling 800 different SKUs. That might be a vanilla in 4 different packages, right? Like, it's not necessarily 900 or 800 different blends, right? It's just that many different SKUs.
Yeah.
And you stratify your sales over all those SKUs, not very many SKUs sold a whole lot.
Right.
If that makes sense, right? So, and I'm not saying any one of those things, again, it wasn't my decision, okay? I wasn't really involved with that decision. My point is, there's a lot that goes into the decision.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe it was just someone mad and was like, I don't care, I'm cutting everything. Or maybe it was all those things, or maybe it was none of them. Maybe it was 10 other things I don't know about.
Yep.
Right? But if I was asked to make that decision, I would be looking at a lot of those things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like to imagine somebody got all pouty and mad because they didn't like what they were reading on the internet and decided to cut everything that everyone loved.
You'll think how they feel now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, the outcome doesn't change. So what does the story matter? Everyone's still doing it. Everyone's all really upset. So let's make it fun. Yeah. Let's make it a fun reason.
Yeah.
I will say that one of the decision makers did go to the internet to see how things were going and went to one of the forums, and it was a fascinating read to watch it.
Rookie mistake.
I didn't pay attention to any of that, so
you're better off for it. It was abysmally sad.
Yeah. So you tipped me off to who went where, and so while we were waiting for this interview, we read through a lot of the comments that were made on both sides of the fence. And
is this recent?
Yeah.
Fairly, yeah.
Okay.
We can edit it out if you want, but it was when Leonard decided to address the Pipes magazine forum.
Oh, okay.
it 3 different threads spiraled out of control.
Oh wow!
And it was a lot of fun because the mods would have to shut down one thread, and then he'd start another one asking people to be more civil, and that one would get shut down too.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it was pretty incredible.
Nice. Okay.
So we were reading some of the gems from that while we were waiting for this interview, going, yeah, this is why going into an interview like this is a lot different than addressing the internet at large.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing I want to say is, I put that letter out the other day. I mean, I think the important part is, because I've gotten a lot of emails and I've tried to respond to most of them over the last few days, and where I could. I mean, I was on vacation with my family, as I mentioned, DC yesterday, but I was still trying to put some posts out there that were relevant on Facebook as I was reading a lot of them back.
Yeah, you were very responsive.
And I mean, it's, I'll say that a lot of the questions that keep coming up is, well, what about this tobacco, or what about these, or what about these, right? Because if they know we make them, like, the answer is, if they're not on the list, they're not being made. I would have hoped it was evident in the letter, but maybe it wasn't, because it didn't go into private label, or it didn't go into, you know what I mean? Things that I could see where there's a little nuance around. Mm-hmm. But yes, if it was produced in Svendborg, Denmark, under, a McBaron-owned product, or it was produced by Sutliff, regardless of the name on it, those are the only 14 or whatever it is that are still.
14, yep.
Right? I've gotten a few questions like, hey, could you give us a list of everything that's going away?
No, that'd be insane.
I mean, could I technically? Yes. But, I don't know, it's just kind of too sad.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not, I don't even know that I can, as far as the issue I have with doing it is it fair to the private labels, yes or no? I don't know, because I don't know what all their plans are.
Yeah.
One that I think I can freely talk about because she's talked about it is Missouri Meerschaum, right?
Yeah, she openly announced that they're done.
Missouri Meerschaum Great Dane is going away, right? Because we're not going to be producing it anymore.
Yep.
But let's just say she wasn't open about it. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's looking for another manufacturer right now.
Yeah.
Right? And you did or did not know that we made it, and now I'm telling you it's going away. And you know what I mean?
Right. Like Seattle Pipe Club, they've put it out there that they're looking for a new producer. So it's nice that they've acknowledged that they're looking for somebody else who can make it. But for you to say that for every one of these blends, I think you're right. It would be unfair. They might have a way to market it and spin it and come up with a good twist. And for you to just come out and go, well, that's gone, would be hurtful.
Yeah, and I would say that, and I had someone that actually was really smart, and they emailed me not too long ago tonight, and they were like, hey, I went through your website, or what is it, sutliff-tobacco.com, where we give a description, a picture of every blend, by category, and they literally went through and said, based on our categories, they're like, amphora, there's 6 and you're keeping 0. Super value, there's X and you're keeping 0.
Yep.
Right? And they tallied them. And they were going away, and I forget the number, X, keeping 14. And it was by category. And they were like, well, what about this blending? Their email was, well, what about this blending category one? Are you keeping these blending components? And I was like, well, no, those are going away too. So they can amend their list. I would assume that list is going to make it to the internet, because
I'm sure
it was kind of actually a smart way to analyze it.
Yeah,
thing
kind
I
of a
would say is
backdoor
that,
way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that also, though, we don't list the private labels on there, right?
Right.
So the private labels that I can freely talk about, obviously we talked about Missouri Mearson, but also the ones you just listed, right? Warhorse, all your Hearth and Home, whether it's Midtown or Marquee Series, and then Bengal Slices is in there, and ETIC, and Circa, all your John Cottons, those. There's no secret behind those. The Aaron Go Bra, the John Bull, the C'est La Vie. Again, if you look and or read normally tobaccoreviews.com, it'll tell you who makes these things.
Yes.
It's not nobody hides it. I mean, look, if you look on the back of any product and find our tobacco product, our TP number, we legally have to put it on there because the
Eugene was just talking about that with this when I handed him the Warhorse bar. Is like, do they just not look at the tax label that tells you exactly who made it?
Right.
If there's something and you have a tin or someone has a tin and takes the picture and it's our tax number, well, we made it. Right? So okay, cool. It's going away.
Yep.
I truly am the world's greatest detective.
There you go.
Must be the only person on the entire embodiment of the internet that figured that out.
Well, you did art, so you had to put that tax label on the art.
Right.
So you knew better than the average consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, in Seattle Pipe Club, I've gotten that one a ton. That is included in there.
Yep.
What Seattle Pipe Club's plan is, as far as the product, not actually the club, the people behind the brand.
Yeah. The club and the
what
brand
their
are
plan
different
is
things.
or isn't, I don't fully know. I just know we're not going to be making it.
Yep.
Where it ends up, where it doesn't end up, which blends stay, which blends don't, that's for them to figure out and decide and tell the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know when I'm done making it.
Right. Yeah, and I only said something because they publicly acknowledged that they are seeking a new producer of the tobacco. So I didn't feel bad saying something that I've seen publicly posted.
Yeah, I mean, that would be any of these brands. I mean, those ones we just named, though, as far as John Cotton's and Warhorse and those, they're not because they're owned by STG.
Yep.
Right? Like, Hearth and Home is owned by STG, if you didn't know. So they're not seeking someone else to make it.
Right. It's that one was really interesting. All of those blends, because a lot of the stuff said, well, anything that's STG will stay, but they didn't mean the things that were STG but were being produced at Sutliff.
Right, and I mean that's the same question. I've gotten that question too. Like, I mean, I've seen it on the internet. What about Peterson and Dunhill, or not Dunhill, but Peterson and Stokeby and
Lane and
yeah, and Colt Blood Red Moon. I had someone ask about it was like, what about Super Value Peach and Colt Blood Red Moon? And I was like, well, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Super Value Peach, no. Colt Blood Red Moon, I've never made it.
Right.
It will stay. So anyways, I mean, yeah, if STG was making it before, as far as I know, they don't plan on cutting any of their own SKUs. I mean,
right.
They could eventually, or you know what I mean. Every now and then they do SKU rationalizations, anyways.
They've
from
done
any
it.
company, right? So I'm not saying that they're going to or they're not going to. I'm just saying that any of those decisions would be independent. You can pretty much assume that they would stay around.
Yeah.
I think when the FDA came out, they did a round of rationalizations, if I remember.
Yeah, I recall a time when they did some. Yeah.
I feel like they did. You know what I mean? But again, I wasn't there. I wasn't their employee back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, those products are still there, so it's a pretty, I think people ask the question almost not because they don't know, they're like holding out a little bit of hope.
Right. That's what most of it is. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've gotten emails that like plead for me to keep a blend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please, for everything holy, keep chocolate mousse.
Right.
Like,
I wish that worked, because I'd be calling you every day about 1849, but that's not going to work, so I haven't bothered.
It's been very interesting because basically the way our orders flow into the system, we have a website we push them through for retailers, and I get an email on every order confirmation. Lately I've been looking at them over the last few days. Like, I always look at them, but lately I've been looking at them more in depth because I've been curious, like, are people trying to order up and see what we have in stock and get what they can? Do you know what, on 2 separate orders I've seen 50 pounds of ordered each?
No.
That Frosty Mint.
Wow.
Yep. And just today.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I don't know that we sell 100 pounds of frost cement in any given year.
Yeah, suddenly you sell it in a day more than a year.
I mean, I don't know that. We could sell thousands. Like, I honestly don't know the volume of frost, 2008 frost cement or whatever it is. Like, however, I can assure you we normally don't get orders of 50 pounds of it.
No.
And I was like, okay, you know, and you just wonder though, and without naming who it was, like, maybe they're making their own blends with it.
They must be, you know.
And it's an interesting component in that blend. I mean, because, I mean, not that winter's over, however.
Right.
You know, if we were going to put out a holiday blend that tasted like chocolate and peppermint, or, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It would probably have frosty mint and chocolate mousse in it, hint, like,
right.
you know? Like, and I'm sure if other people were doing it, it would probably be the same, right?
Yep.
Sounds to me like they're trying to make some bootleg Frustica.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
That's it.
But anyway, yeah, they've just seen the sales of it go through the roof. But that was very interesting. I was like, wow, okay. We'll go with it, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Maybe they just really like, 50 pounds though?
That's too much.
It was a lot. But again, because one of the questions that I've seen and I've responded to online, which nobody liked my answer to. I mean, I would say the people that are respectful in the industry and get it, when I respond that, hey, I'm not going to comment on that, that's their story to tell, they're
right.
like, no, I get it, cool. And then I get other nice comments along the way, which is fine. I'm used to it. It's not like I don't have thin skin. It's fine. That in this industry for 10 years now, it's not a problem. However, is, what people that blend, they're at their shops, right? Whether they have a shop or whether they're just doing it online.
Yeah.
Like what they use of ours or don't use of ours. Can you tell us? The question was, hey, can you tell us how this will affect Peretti?
Yep.
Well, no,
there's a lot
I actually
of that.
can't. Because Peretti doesn't tell me what he does or does not use our tobacco in to blend.
Mm-hmm. He just orders it, right?
He just orders it, right? Like, I don't say, well, I need to see your recipe first.
Yeah.
He orders stuff and then he does whatever he wants with it.
Right.
There can be assumptions made that he uses ours to make blends, or certain ones to make blends, or resell certain ones as is.
Yep.
But I couldn't 100% tell you.
Yeah, you couldn't
if
put
he
a
said
finger on it
no,
for real.
I couldn't argue with him.
Yep.
Does he? Yeah, probably, right? But
for how much they order, it seems that way, but it's not your choice to.
That's him to sit there and tell you how it does or does not affect, the same way Ken Byron's doing, right?
Yep.
Like that's on them to tell you how it's going to affect, how it's not going to affect, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, I really appreciated Ken Byron's approach, though, of just acknowledging we talked about it before. What was it, like 37 blends that used Sutliff tobacco components?
Yeah.
And to just put it out there, because other companies are arguing that the Sutliff closure will have no effect on their blending. And it's hard to believe when you know that they order from Sutliff. So I'm not going to name names there because I don't want to be a jerk.
I would say the one that is not lying when they say it is Cornell and Deal.
Yeah.
I know what we have in the past or have not in the past. I know our relationship. We have a very good and open relationship with their whole organization.
Yeah.
And they're fine. Right? Their blends are not going to be affected, right?
Yep.
They're good. If they were buying something from us, it's just a commodity product that can be bought elsewhere.
Right.
It's basically the same. If they were. And if it was a very minor thing, right? So, yes, there's no issues there.
Yeah, they'll be fine, and they built themselves around the idea of not needing Sutliff, yeah.
Everyone else to say that they're not going to be effective, and I've seen these things like, we need to stay positive. I mean, you and Shannon talked about it a bunch on one of your last episodes, and the opportunities this is going to provide for other people, and all these things. Those things all might very well be true.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the industry goes, I hope they are true. However, you have to understand that when you take a huge chunk of the supply off the market, relatively drastic,
Yep.
right? And a huge competitive landscape out of the market, right? Like, normally you'll see, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but a lot of times you'll see prices go up.
Yep.
Because there's fewer competitors, right? Competition normally drives down prices.
Right.
It increases selection, right?
Yep.
And those
Yeah.
things go away as you do away with competitors.
Right.
Like, and I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, these are like normal things that happen in the world.
Yep.
And then also who can react and how they can react. So the biggest one probably that has the biggest opportunity to react is Cornell and Diehl.
Yep.
I mean, this should be anybody that knows anything about our industry, that's no secret.
Right.
Like,
right.
but then you have to say, and I don't know the answer to this, okay? But what is their capacity?
Mm-hmm.
And not like long-term capacity, sure, is unlimited, right? With money and resources, long-term capacity is unlimited.
Right.
However, in the short term, in the near term, what is it? And if we're doing away with all these blending components, all these other tobaccos, all these flavored tobaccos that are being used, all these everything, private labels,
Yeah.
are they going to Cornell and Diehl?
Yep.
Are they going to Galwith? Are they going to Germain's? Are they going to Dan Tobacco? Are they
Right.
going to Cole House and Cop? Like, and if you know much about each one of those, you know that your best chance of getting something is out of Cornell and Diehl.
Yep.
And if everyone goes to Cornell and Diehl, plus Cornell and Diehl's volume
They have
in
their
theory
own
is going to
volume.
go up
Yeah.
of their own products,
Yep.
how quick do you think they're going to be able to react, A, to their own supply, and B,
And
to
beat
everyone else
every
coming
other
to them?
blender who needs them
And,
now.
oh, by the way, those all blends all have to be developed again.
Yep. Yep.
So it's not like it's just like, oh, yeah, just make my Reese Blue again.
Right.
Well, what's in your Reese Blue?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Let's start over.
Yep.
Right? So
Right.
now Jeremy Reeves or whoever has to go through that process.
And it has to sit there
Right?
and smoke the Reese Blue.
I'm
and,
guessing that's the way we
yeah.
would do it, right?
Yep.
So again, I don't know. I don't work for them. You know what I mean?
Right,
However,
right.
we can speculate relatively intelligently about this.
Yeah, we're informed enough to know that it's not a crazy speculation.
Right. And I mean, it's one thing too. And again, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be realistic for the industry, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted something with a chocolate undertone in it,
Yep.
how many chocolates are on the market?
Not very many. No.
And most of them come from us, if not all of
Yes.
them.
I would
So,
I would venture a guess all of them except
you
Bob's
think it's-
Chocolate Flake.
okay. And how many people are blending with Bob's
Well, and,
chocolate?
right, that's cost prohibitive. It's a tinned flake.
You know, I mean, that's just an example, right?
Mhm.
As far as a blend. But with that being said, like, you just don't. How do you create a chocolate flavor? If you're a small blender, and now you don't have chocolate mousse that you added 5% to get this chocolate undertone.
Hmm.
What are you putting in there now to get that chocolate?
I mean, probably
Are you
cocoa
going-
powder, which is a crazy idea. Yeah.
Right? Like, what are you mixing up hot chocolate? Like literal
Yeah.
hot chocolate? Like hold the marshmallows?
Right.
Like, because our stuff is food grade, developed flavors that someone
Yep.
like Carl McAllister made in a lab at Sutliff.
Yep. Which you can
Years
still see.
ago
Yeah,
for
you can still see the
combustion.
lab setup
You know what I
and
mean?
know
Like,
how
for
it works.
all these things, like, so that, you know, the way these things are developed, the way they're applied, it's so that the flavor stays, so that it holds moisture, so it doesn't mold, so that you
Mhm.
don't get sick when you smoke it, right? Like,
So it burns at the
they're
right
food
temperature,
grade-
so
they're
yeah.
food grade ingredients, like, or flavors made at flavor houses, right? Like,
Yep.
and oh, by the way, I got to buy 10 gallons of it when I buy it.
Yeah, yeah.
That lasts me a year. So how long does that last someone else? Let alone can you get it? And oh, by the way, most flavors are proprietary.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you can call a flavor house and say, oh, I want chocolate. A, if they'll open an account. B, if they'll talk to you. C, what's your minimum. And D, which chocolate are you getting?
Yep. Yeah, there are so many chocolates that it could be completely different still.
So again, you can do it, but a lot of it, hey, can I get 4 ounces of chocolate? Oh, sure, we're going to open you account up and ship it from Germany for 4 ounces of chocolate. I mean, again, not saying there's not resources, not saying there's not places. However, it's just not as easy as it was.
Yep.
Right? Just to play around. You guys know, you've been to Sutliff, you've blended, you've played around.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. We've had
when
the
you're sitting
experience.
there with all these tobaccos, it's easy to play around and come up with flavor profiles and combinations you want.
Yep.
And all you have to do is screw around and put in different tobaccos.
Yep. Just
you don't have to worry about the chemistry behind it.
Nope. Percentages.
Levels,
yep.
You just say, I want a little chocolate, I want a little more burley.
Yep.
You didn't worry about what we cased that burley with. You didn't worry about how we conditioned it, how we cut it, right? Like, the casing is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, a burley is not because a mix says it's 50% burley.
Right.
Say you have a straightforward 50% burley, 50% virgin. Well, if you buy that from Sutliff and you buy that from Cornell and Deal, they're going to taste different.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Like, even if we take it out of the same boxes of leaf, it's going to taste different because we're going to case them different.
Yep.
Like, so, and again, that doesn't mean it's not going to be better. But
No,
you can
just
guarantee it's
very
going to be
different. Yep.
And harder because of what's left on the market. Not impossible, right? Like, definitely not impossible. Anything's possible, right? But just not. It's not just going to be easy anymore.
Yeah, it's not the ease that it used to be, and I just need this percentage, and you guys figure out the rest. Thanks.
And that doesn't mean that in a year, 2 years, 6 months, whatever the time frame is, that other manufacturers aren't going to see an opportunity, and you're going to see cherry coming out of Samuel Gowith and chocolate mousse coming out of that, and you know what I mean, or out of Cornell and Deal, or out of Dan Tobacco, right? Like,
but it's not going to happen overnight. Yeah.
Right, but again, they got to go develop it.
Yep.
Like, and whatever their process is for developing.
Yeah.
And then again, now does that comply with the FDA? I'm going to go with no. Now, but then do they care? Right?
Right.
So again, so many nuances, right? And do I think it's doom and gloom for the industry? No. Is it a kick where? 100%.
Yes.
If as a hobbyist, yes, of course it is. There's no hiding from that fact. So anyways, so I think that's important. And I think one of the main reasons why I wanted to come on this show is because, what is it, 2 weeks ago, I called Nate after I had a tour. We had some people come and wanted to do a factory tour, and so I gave it to them, and 4, I'll say, younger gentlemen, because I'm getting older. And they were all buddies from Northern Virginia, and they came down and did a tour, and they were asking a ton of questions, and super nice. And we were having a good time, and at the end of the tour, one of them looked at me and said, hey, with all this going on, which blend should I try that are going away or that I don't want to miss out on?
Yep.
And that's a really good question, right? Like, what would I say? And, I named off a few. And then ultimately I said to him, hey, like, everyone, that's fine. If you have a favorite that you smoke every day and you want to make sure you got your 5 pounds of it or whatever, go for it. However, I think that it's very important if you want to be the old guy sitting in Chicago in 20 years or 40 years telling stories about way back when.
I don't want to be him.
I was around when Sutliff was around.
Yep.
I was around when this. I tried to kind of like we tell stories about McClellan. Right?
Yep.
The young people are like, oh my God, I missed out on it. I never got to try it, blah, blah, blah. So now you're younger and now this is happening. So what should you do? And my answer was get together with buddies or even by yourself and go out and buy, because online companies all sell it by the ounce, or stores do.
Yeah.
Go buy a ton of our products by the ounce.
Yep.
Just buy an ounce of it.
Every SKU you can. Yeah.
Right. Like if you only have $100, you can go buy, 3 pounds of one thing.
Yeah.
Or you can go buy like an ounce of 20 or 40 things.
Yeah.
And then you can smoke an ounce and be like, yeah, I had chocolate mousse. I remember the day. Oh yeah, I had bananas and cream, or 208 apple, or whatever the blend is, right? Like their medium English or RC515 RC1 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The same way with your classic blends that are going away. Mixture 79, Edward G. Robinson, Heine's blend.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there will be a day where you're going to be like, wow, that's actually really gone. I never smoke that Codger blend.
Yep, you'll be the odd man out at a party where everybody's talking about it at one of the pipe shows, and you're like, I never had it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so why not take that money and see, you know, like, try a bunch of different things.
Yeah, pipe clubs. Like, this is advice that I think every pipe club should be listening to, because a pipe club could get 5 guys with $100 together and supply that club with 100 different blends to go through and try at every one of their next meetings.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and just put them in your mason jars, store them, and then just enjoy them. Right? Like, yeah, you won't get it again. Unfortunately, you might smoke chocolate mousse and be like, dang. I want to smoke that all day, every day, right? But at least you got to say, again, when you're old and telling stories, I smoked 100 of their blends. I smoked 10 of their blends. I smoked 50 of their blends, right? Whether you like the aromatics, whether you don't, right? Like, whether you like our Red Virginias, like, try it. Yeah. Now's your chance, and it's your last chance.
Yeah, for sure.
So yes, if you're fortunate enough to have the money and you want to go deep on some things and cellar them, sure, go for it.
Yep.
However, if your funds are sparse or you just don't want to cellar that deep, you know what I mean? No problem. You want to see what's coming next. I would still say, buy these random blends. You don't have to buy a bunch of it. Get together with some guys. You guys each buy a couple ounces, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, I wish your website had a randomizer so you could just literally randomize it and go just add whatever, 7 different 1 ounce bulks.
It does. That randomizer is called Jake.
Actually, yeah.
You just message Jake and say, "Send me stuff. There's money."
If you emailed Jake, he would hook you up with randomly picking for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have the opportunity because we're going out of business. Things aren't being price gouged; they're being sold at whatever our normal price is.
Yeah, right? The prices are great, or there are sales every week.
Yeah, no, yes, there are still sales. And so take this opportunity to buy stuff you thought about. And again, I'm not telling you to go buy 5 pounds of it. I'm telling you to buy an ounce. Yep. Buy 2 ounces.
Buy 1 or 2 ounces, jar it up, and enjoy it.
Yeah, a couple bucks here. Buy enough so you don't have to pay for shipping. If you have the money. If you don't, okay, fine. But, maybe don't buy a pipe this month and buy extra tobacco, right?
Unless it's a Greywoodie.
Not that he has any for sale, but if he did.
If he did, yeah.
Hypothetically. I think that is the most solid advice I can give anyone.
No, I love it. I'm fortunate in that, I know you and you've helped me taste a lot of your bulks over the years. So I did the opposite, and I bought a 14-ounce tub of Mixture 79 just because I was like, I don't have a display tub of that. So I would have been sad if I didn't have that on the shelf at the end of the day. I did the rest too. I bought other stuff in small amounts.
And not that you want Dutch Masters, but we make Dutch Masters, you know what I mean? Just the old Dutch people on it, there's just, I'll say some, even when I came into the industry 10 years ago, I'm like, I know what Dutch Masters is. My grandpa had a Dutch Master cigar box with checkers in it.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, was those tubs to later in my shop have random bits and ends.
I think Mixture 79 is a big one, right? That is a quote-unquote Codger blend. It had been around forever, but it will be no longer.
Yep. And everybody loves to say they hated it, but they really loved it, and they were embarrassed by it, and now it's gone, and they can all cry.
And I'll say, if you don't like it, or you haven't tried it, I'm like, okay, well, this is your last chance.
Yeah, try it.
I'm not trying to promote sales. No. People would be like, oh, he's just on there trying. Trust me, you look at what we're already out of stock of.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not going to be an issue, right? We're going to be out of stock of stuff, and that's all there is.
When I bought my tub, it was single digits left on tobacco pipes. I'm like, it's moving on its own. You don't need to sell it.
No, this is not about promoting stuff. This is about someone asking a good question, me thinking about it,
and having a great answer.
And then literally calling Nathan that day on my way home. You're like, hey man, we're going to be making an announcement soon. I'd like to come on your show because I think this is good advice. to give people to say, hey, take a step back. Like, yes, this is horrible. Yes, you can hate who you want to hate. Like, all those things, they're your emotions. You have them however you would like, express them however you'd like, wherever you would like to. They are yours. You own them. Have fun with them. However, in the middle of all that, don't forget that things are going away.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to try them, now's the time. Again, if you're fortunate to have the money and buy a pound of everything, go for it, right? Like,
yeah, that'd be brilliant.
You know, but you're probably not going to like most of it because, you know, like, so maybe just buy a couple ounces of it.
Yeah. There'll be a couple you're really sad that you wish you had gotten more of initially, but then most of them you're going to be like, oh, yep, that's that. Yeah. Cool, I had it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that in general, like, what's going to be missed most out of the Sutliff portfolio that's not on the market today, right? And it's going to be, I'll say, random aromatics.
Yeah, completely random, yep.
And somewhat red Virginia, available all day, every day in bulk.
Yep.
Right? I mean, there's a few annual releases of different red Virginias that we did or another competitor did, right?
Yeah, I snagged some of the crumble cakes that I didn't even realize were still left of your red Virginia.
Yeah, you know, that'll still happen and things like that. But, like, I mean, you know, what else do we make? Our blending components, right? Like, I'm not saying other people won't fill a void, but if you wanted to buy Perique or Latakia Straight or, you know, different Virginias or Orientals or whatever, Kentucky or whatever it happened to be, right? We always sold those.
Yep. They were just available every day. Yeah.
Right. And I don't think, I mean, again, I don't pay attention to some of my competitors, but so much, you know. But I think those are the things. Like, I mean, look, if you want a vanilla, there's going to be other vanillas on the market. You want a cherry, there's other cherries on the market, right? But there's not necessarily a chocolate besides Bob's Chocolate Maker. There's not a bananas and cream, or your peaches might be limited, or your strawberry delights, or your
those really out there ones. Frosty mint.
I mean, creme brulee, frosty mint, right? Like all these different ones, you know. Maples. I don't know that there's. I'm trying to think what there is in the maple range, like our maple Cavendish. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I've always assumed every maple I see was using your blending components.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, those are really the big holes. I mean, let's, and not, STG this or STG that or whatever, but there's still plenty of people that put out very high quality products that do very well.
Yeah.
Whether it's STG, whether it's Cornell and Deal, whether it's Dan, whether it's Cowith, whether it's Cole House, right? Like, there's really good tobaccos and really high-end tobaccos out there that everyone loves and everyone will continue to smoke. You know, and Sutliff made a lot of those too, but what we also made was a big, unique variety that no one else did. Mm-hmm. You know, another one, like I got a call from Chuck Levy today talking about with you on Reese, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you got all your Reese blends, right? Your 3-Star Blue.
Yeah.
Like, they're going away.
Yep.
Are they going to find another home at some point? Maybe. Like, but that's a random one. You got to go to Ewan Reese. You got to go to his web shop.
Yeah, it's only available there, and I
mean, 3-Star you can like Blue you can pick up other places. However, the rest of them, the bronze and the green and the this and the that, like you got to go there. I guarantee he doesn't have much stock.
No, I doubt it.
So if you ever want to try those, and that's like a family legacy and an old business and an old shop, and most people don't talk about them. Those are, I don't know that you're going to see them again or not. Right? I can't tell you what Chuck's plans are, what he can convince people to do or not do.
Yeah, you know? I mean, again, educated guess based on the type of volume that he's doing. It's one little shop selling them, so it's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah, I mean, and again, just everyone's going to the same people asking for blends.
Exactly.
And like, no matter what, it's going to be different. Different good, different bad, different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it is not going to be the same. The same way that probably there was a day when Chuck's dad or Chuck used to blend that themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then Sutliff started doing it, and it was different.
Yep. It was different.
And so it's been different, say, for 20 years or 30 years or 40 years now.
Yeah.
You know, and then if he finds someone else, it will be different again.
Yep.
Right? In the same way with Seattle Pipe Club or anything else that we made that goes on somewhere else, it's going to be different. Not bad, not worse, but different.
Just different, yeah.
It could be either of those. You know? I mean, there's a chance it's going to be one or the other.
It's likely going to be one or the other.
You know?
And it's likely that one person will think it's better and one person will think it's worse.
Well, yeah, it's going to depend on how mad you are still at, STG. If you're still mad at STG, it's going to be better. Oh my God, I'm so glad this went away. And if you're just like nonchalant about it, you're going to be like, oh, this sucks. Right? Like,
Yeah.
No. You'll see a lot of that.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
in the future, when someone comments on that, be like, do you hate them or do you like them? Oh, I hate them. Oh, well, your opinion doesn't count then.
Yep.
You're jaded. Never mind. So that's like I said. I think it's going to be very interesting. Fast forward 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
To see which manufacturers step up, how things transition, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Nope.
Right? It's going to, whether it's 6 months. I doubt. I mean, my guess is it's going to be years. Right?
Yeah,
like just
fair.
knowing how manufacturing works, knowing how it all works behind the scenes, not just because, right? Like, it's going to be a slow process.
Oh, yeah.
Just based on how much supply of products you're taking out of the market, and there was never an excess of capacity sitting there on the sidelines
Yep.
that Sutliff, McBaren, or STG didn't own.
Right.
Like, Sutliff had excess capacity. We only ran one shift a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Right? We could have tripled our output if we needed to. There was no demand for us to triple our output, okay? Right? Like,
Right.
McBaren, basically similar boat. I don't know what STG ran at their factory, right?
Yeah.
But, like, our factories, McBaren maybe ran a shift and a half.
Okay.
Right? Like, so we had excess capacity. I can't speak to other organizations, you know what I mean? Just waiting in the sidelines. Like, oh, yeah. And not only waiting in the sidelines, but waiting with the right products to fill the void.
Yep.
And I think that's a key. And just, again, just that development. I mean, products are not normally made overnight. Now, if you're just taking 3 Sutliff products and blending them together, they are made overnight.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We made them in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Eugene made them in a day, right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. That's what it
Same
took.
with the Get Pipe guys. We made them in a day.
Yeah.
We tweaked it a day, days later, but we made it in a day.
Yep.
Because we could take our burley and we could take our maple and we could take our coffee and decide whether we wanted our cappuccino in it or our coffee.
Yep.
Did we want bold Kentucky in it or dark fired, right? Like,
Yeah.
Did we want just a regular burley or did we want HH burley? Like, those were easy. Switch it in, switch it out. Smoke it? Nope. Put the other one in. Smoke it? Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like, very easy.
Yep.
Not starting from scratch.
Yeah. Drunk podcast hosts can do it. Anybody can.
So,
but
yeah,
not anymore.
That's my PSA for the day.
Excellent. Well, it's good timing because I think we need to take a commercial break real quick. This episode of the Greywoodie Show is brought to you by the friends of Jeremy McKenna, without whom this show and every pipe show would have been much less successful. In his time with Sutliff, Jeremy helped and supported all of us in ways that we won't even understand for the next year. Eyes will open over the coming months when we lose the advice, friendly suggestions, ideas, and everything else he brought to the industry, hobby, and community. The Greywoodie Show, on behalf of everyone he has helped, would like to extend a hearty thank you for the untold ways that Jeremy McKenna lifted up the pipe tobacco, and cigar worlds. We wish him luck in all future endeavors, though we know he does not need it.
And welcome back to the Greywoodie Show.
Welcome back.
Finally, a commercial I can get behind.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
Sold.
There was one final project coming out of Sutliff. Has that been shelved entirely?
Nope.
Okay.
I hope that my plan as of today is that project and myself will be shown at the Muletown show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. For one last hurrah in March, I think, right? Second week in March?
I believe that's right, yeah. Man, I wasn't planning on going to that show. Now I'm going to have to think hard about that.
I can't go
Yeah.
because I don't want to.
Well, I know their tables are sold out and everything else, but
Yeah.
I
didn't
deal
say sell at it. I just said go.
I have a drug deal to be somewhere, even if I can't get a table, because I decided to go after tables were sold out.
Yeah.
But my plan is to take that last project which we'll talk about in a second. I'm happy to talk about it.
Okay, cool.
And actually just sell it there. So yeah, that project will be. Well, Eugene, do you want to tell us what it's called?
It's called Sweated.
Yep. And who did the artwork?
Some jerk.
Some jerk. That's right.
Yep.
So kind of as an end to our 175th anniversary, which we're in 25, so we're technically past that.
Yeah,
However,
stretching it a little bit. That's all right.
that's what everyone does, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, most widows keep going on with their anniversaries, so why don't we do the same thing?
Right. I mean, if we weren't getting shut down, I probably would have pushed it and gotten it out for the year end, right? Before the year was over.
Right.
But knowing we were closing and then thinking about going to one last pipe show, I decided to hold off until that pipe show to do it.
Nice.
So what Sweated is kind of a combination of what started off as bad luck, which turned into good fortune.
Yep.
So at one point we were making one of the Kringle Flakes 2 years ago, I forget.
I think it was 2 years ago, yep.
And we were dumping the Perique in it. I think that one had Perique.
Yes.
And there was some mold in the Perique as we dumped it in.
Yep.
And our blender saw it, stopped, pulled out all the quote-unquote moldy Perique.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, what do we do? And we were like, let's not take the risk, like trash it.
Yep.
Right, and we'd already had all the Red Virginia in there, and we were literally just throwing the Perique in on top, and we were just like, nope, it's not worth it, trash it. And so I thought,
you thought your employees would listen to you.
It was trash. I should have known better. So months and months and months later, if not a year later, Jonathan.
It was almost a year, yeah.
Yeah, our head of production tells me, hey, you know that, Kringle Flake that had the mold in the Perique? I said, yeah. And he said, well, we had it in a hogshead, and I threw a plastic bag over it and threw it in a Connex that sits in the sun all year.
Yep.
Because I wanted to see the mold grow, basically.
Oh, okay. I mean, nothing wrong with being a man of science.
And none grew, meaning there wasn't any.
None.
None.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. We got it all out, right? Like, we caught it when we did it. We pulled it out. We knew there wasn't. We saw there wasn't. And what that meant is you took what was arguably already a really good blend.
Yeah, it was fantastic to begin with.
And you sweated it. Like, hence the name of the blend.
Yep. In the Virginia sun all summer.
In a Connex.
Yes.
Covered it with a bag, like, just sweat for over a year. And then we said, well, that's nice. However, why don't we put it in God, I can't even remember the type of barrel we put it in. A tawny port barrel, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Put it.
Tawny, my favorite tawny port.
So I had a tawny port barrel we had just bought, like, for a random project. And I said, this seems like a good random project. So it has been sitting in that barrel for probably almost a year, too.
Yeah.
6 months anyways, because we've had this plan to produce it and put it out. So it has been in that barrel for a long time.
It's been, so we got to try the first pressing when you just tested it. That was a year ago-ish. So it's been in that port barrel for a long time.
Yeah. And so soon we'll be pulling it out and packaging it and selling it. Now that is going to be sold in, don't quote me on it, but it will be a true plug cut.
Yep.
Because it was originally going to be a flake, so it's whole leaf. And it's either 8 ounce or 16 ounce, and it might technically be 500 grams.
Okay.
I forget which size we're doing, but it's a big size, right? Like, it's not a small size. And I think we only have about 200 pounds of it.
Okay.
So if it's 8 ounces, then you're going to have 400 of them available. If it's a pound, there's going to be 200 available.
Yeah.
And on the artwork, correct me if I'm wrong, Eugene, but like, we put kind of on all of our 2 different tins, we kind of have the 175th in Roman numerals around the border.
Yep.
And we have that same theme, right, on the label for it.
Yeah, I do believe so. It's been a bit, let's say.
Yeah, for you and me both. So anyways, it kind of follows that same theme. It's, I think, phenomenal tobacco. I think it's a great way to go out. I would assume we're going to sell out of it all there at Muletown very quickly. So if you are coming to Muletown, or you know someone that's coming to Muletown, I would probably try and pick some up.
Good thing
I'm sure you could flip it the next day on Tinbids for like 3 times as much.
Probably.
So,
That's what the label looks like.
Yes. Yeah, I saw early version. That's nice.
Yep.
So anyway, so that is our mine, Sutliff's, mine, Jonathan's, whatever, Eugene's last hurrah.
Yeah.
Yep.
With us. Hopefully Eugene has plenty more hurrahs coming. That is our last one together with this endeavor.
Yeah.
So, sad but exciting. There's still one more.
Well, you stole my only question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, this has been a pretty easy show for me to record.
Yeah. I'm really glad. I will think about going to Muletown. I'm really glad I know somebody who's going, who might be able to score me a couple pounds of that.
So, but yeah, you guys got any other questions?
Deflected.
Yeah.
I have feedback of the week, which is just pointing out that I had to show my wife my phone when my entire Facebook feed was nothing but your letter. Every single post was just your letter. I had to stop looking at Facebook for 16 hours because there was nothing else to happen there.
Is that why you laughed when I said I don't know what you're talking about? What letter?
Yes. I called Eugene. I'm like, oh, I'm sure you've seen it by now. He's like, what? Seen what? I was like, Jeremy's letter? What letter?
Yeah, I had no idea.
He's like, oh, it's just been posted 350 times so far.
It started cycling through after I talked to you.
Yeah. I did have some dumb questions from the internet, which is really funny because you've kind of answered most of them and already been aware of them, but they're always fun. There has been the ever-present, will this blend still be available? And I had jotted down CBRM as the best example because I saw that one probably 25 times.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think? Is CBRM going to survive the cuts?
It'll survive. I would imagine it's going to sell a lot more.
Yep. What's going to happen to these lane blends that I love buying?
Oh, oof, that's a tough one. Let's see. Sutliff has never been involved with them, ever.
Yep.
I'd say they're going to make it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Why is Sutliff discontinuing all of these blends? Do they hate us?
Yes. No, it's not Sutliff, it's Jeremy.
It's Jeremy specifically, yeah.
And you know,
I'm going to leave the industry, and it's literally, this is just done because I hate everyone.
well, I'm going to stay in the industry, and I also hate everyone.
Eugene wanted a funny story, let's just go out on with a good story. And the answer is, I am personally doing all this. I got in the industry just so I could destroy it and break everyone's spirits.
Spent 10 years.
It just took me 10 years to build up enough to be okay, I think I'm at a point where now I'm at a height, right? There's only one place to go but down.
You've peaked.
So I'm just super villain and gonna just destroy it all. My face made it on a tin of tobacco.
Yep, you were just waiting for that day.
Yeah, and I finally made it, and so now it's time to destroy it all.
Man, I have a lot of respect for that.
Yep. So that would be really cool if that's what happened.
Yeah, unfortunately, the story is a lot sadder, and it's really upsetting, but...
yeah, it'd be really cool if, not everyone that works in the Sutliff was looking for a job.
Yeah.
So, including myself and Tobacco Pipe.
Yeah.
So, and with that being said, thank you to everyone that actually emails and or posts it on social media when they just say, hey, this really sucks for us. However, my heart goes out to you and your family and everyone at Sutliff. Thank you so much for all your years. And we just wish you the best in finding a job and moving on, because we know that you're literally losing your job.
Yeah.
I'm losing a pipe tobacco I love, but you might be unemployed for years. You might lose your house. You might, that's the reality. I have 40 employees that we all have to go find jobs.
Right.
Yep.
And so thank you to everyone that actually understands that. And I get it. You can still be mad and not care about us. That's fine. Because I don't know when you lose your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in this case, you do know when I lose my job. But however, though, there are a lot of people that have just email to say, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You guys have been a huge part of our lives. Thank you for everything you've done. Like, just, we're so sorry. I wish you all the employees the very best. And those are nice to read. I do appreciate that very much, and my employees do too.
Awesome. I'm glad there are still good people out there, because one look at Facebook right now and you can forget that. So I'm glad to hear that you've been getting the good emails too.
Yep.
What other dumb questions you have?
Can I buy the equipment that's left at Sutliff and start my own tobacco company?
Mm-hmm. And you can buy all the blends too. We're selling those too. 'Cause that's a big question too. That was the one today, yesterday. Are you going to sell these blends to C&D?
Right,
Yes,
right. Yep. Yeah, that's definitely,
No.
they definitely didn't buy it so that they knew they had control of the IP. They definitely want to let all of the IP go to somebody else, for sure.
Yeah, that would be the smartest business decision ever made.
And finally, was actually mine.
Well, it must be the dumbest.
Yep.
That's the one.
So Sutliff made cobblestone tobaccos, but so did K&K and other places. So where does that land on the list?
So any cobblestone Sutliff made is gone. Cobblestone as a brand is gone.
Yep.
Will those tobaccos be available under some other brand if someone wants to work with Coalhouse and Cop and bring them out under some other name? Sure.
Okay.
Right, but Cobblestone's gone.
Yep.
Right. So.
Okay. Yeah, that one was
I mean,
tough because it was never just you producing it. That was a weird brand that was already spread out.
Right, but we were the ones, we'll say, packaging it.
Yep.
So we were buying it in bulk and packaging. We weren't doing anything, but literally portioning it out, right?
Yeah.
And packaging it. We weren't doing any blending. We weren't editing anything. But that task is still not going to happen anymore.
Okay. Yeah, and I did do my research, though. I went and got my tins and was like, yep, these are Sutliff tins, but it does say Coalhouse and Cop on the back. Like, this one is a little confusing.
Well, the old ones will. The new ones won't.
Okay.
So the old ones, in the very beginning, Coalhouse was packaging them for us.
Yep.
But then they got so behind. Coalhouse, I don't even know what they're quoting now, but forever they were quoting a lead time of over a year for any private label wood.
Wow.
So that's why when I say we talk about capacity and different things, like
That's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, like there's still that. And I mean, don't forget, like Coalhouse is trying to blend tobaccos, but they buy a lot of their tobaccos from another major supplier.
Yep.
Couldn't ever guess who that is.
Boy, I'd have trouble guessing that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they've gone through some management changes and restructuring themselves too. So that's not helping matters any.
So, no more good questions.
No, that was the gist of what the internet wants to know. I left out all of the negative stuff that just made me angry, and so I ranted online about it and yelled at people, and I'm good now.
My favorite ones, though, my favorite posts are the people that take, I don't know how long it is, because it's, on your phone, so it looks like 4 pages, right?
Yeah, yep.
And if you type like I do on my phone, it actually did take you a long time. But they write like a thesis on, like they're an expert and this is why it happened.
Yep.
Or this is why either this is why it happened, and you guys should all know because I used big words and wrote for 2 pages.
Right.
Or this is why it's going to be fine because again I used big words and wrote for 2 pages on Facebook. And those just crack me up that people like take that much time that. And I normally don't read them all because
I can't get through the whole thing. Yeah.
However, they're like everyone I've read so far is just fundamentally flawed.
Yep. And then when you correct them, they're all like, "Ooh, what do we have, a tobacco expert?" I'm like, well, I mean, I'm telling you this from the source, but sure, yeah.
I mean, most of this stuff I literally know better than anyone.
I would imagine so,
because of the position that I'm in, not because I'm smarter, but just because of the inside knowledge that I have, right?
Yep.
And so that always cracks me up.
Yeah,
when
you're not claiming you're a
right
genius. You just literally are the
it's
guy
one thing to be like,
it.
I'm mad about this and I hate this, right? Like,
Yeah.
sure. Fair, valid
That's fair.
emotion.
Yep.
And then, but you're like, no. this is why and this is how, and I heard from this person and this person said and blah blah, and I'm like, wow, you have convinced and this, did the aliens tell you? Like, I mean, like the Russians? I'm not, like, who was spying? Like, I'm curious.
It's the orbs or the Iranian drones in New Jersey.
Exactly. I knew Eugene would have something.
Yeah, you've been in the room when these things were said, but clearly they know something you don't.
People just don't even know that they don't know.
Right.
Like, again, it's your emotions. Have whichever ones you want. But then to go on and put out facts, you know? Like, yep, those are all facts. Cool story. That cracks me up. So you should have read some of those for feedback. Like, that could have just put us all to sleep like a lullaby.
That was my issue. They're so long. I was like, I'm not even going to give them the justification of writing this by reading it out loud.
Right. It's... You know, in a way, I think, like, you could find it a little bit flattering because, this is a major turning point in your life, but there's people that are all consumed by this right now, to where it's like all they're thinking about is something that really, it affects them, but not in a very personal way.
Yeah.
But then you think that, and then they take it very personally.
Yep.
So... It's kind of like a paradox.
I would say, having been to as many pipe shows as I have been, I know how personal this industry is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that is the nuance within our industry, whether you're a pipe maker or a reseller, or, you know, a state refurbisher or pipe tobacco manufacturer. Like, it is a very personal industry. I mean, which I think makes it unique and special and great all on its own, you know, unique way.
Oh, here we go. We've got a best top 3 favorite Sutliff, McBaron, or affiliated tobacco poll up.
Ooh,
top 3?
They asked for top 3, and currently it's Sutliff Vanilla Custard is winning, closely followed by Sutliff Christmas Spice, and then Virginia Slices way behind those.
Okay. Well, the funny one is that Z92's staying.
Right.
I wonder why.
Yeah, maybe that's why. A lot of people are upset about the Christmas Spice going away. It was really funny. We smoked it last week. Which is interesting.
I mean, Christmas Spice smells decent.
Yeah.
But there's probably 40 bulks that sell better than it, at least. I mean, if I was without actually looking up the numbers.
Yep.
I mean, it's not that's just very interesting. I don't know why that decided to be a cult following.
Yeah, I think the problem is because you only want to buy it once a year, so it doesn't sell well the other 11 months, but you always had it available, so it was a weird one.
Yeah, that one's very weird. I mean, but the cool thing about 507C is, and it's been put out there, and I forget the blend, but yes, I will confirm it is. Sorry if this breaks everyone's heart.
Yep.
I will pull back the veil a little. Sutliff has been buying it from STG for like 20 years.
Yes.
We do not repackage it. We sell it in the original packaging we get from STG in 5-pound bags. I just want you to know. And I've been told, because I did not know this before, which blend it was exactly, but it was put out by an STG employee that it is just, what, PS400?
PS400. It is the Peter Stokeby luxury Virginia flake.
So nobody's lying about that.
Nope.
It is. I mean,
so you've said it.
I don't have the insider knowledge which STG blend it is. So the fact that an STG employee confirmed, no, it is just PS400.
Leonard openly stated it on a forum.
So I can confirm from our end, no, he's not just saying that. Yes, we have been buying it forever to get it from them forever for, I mean, so many years. So many years it's grandfathered.
Right.
By us as 507C.
Wow.
And 507C, by the way, is their name for it that they put on our packaging. So
I felt really
sorry
bad
if
because
that breaks your heart.
Yeah, I told somebody that
one
today.
Other one is 307 Mocha strips. We bought that from them too.
Yeah.
Because a dirty little secret. Have you ever seen Sutliff put out flakes so nice?
No.
The answer is no. We don't have the equipment. So
Yep. And
therefore, ta-da!
when I bought mocha slices, I did the same thing. I went to you and said, "This isn't a Sutliff product. What is it?" And you said, "I can't tell you," but you're right.
We don't make slices that nice, and that's why I say if you learn what these manufacturers actually their capabilities are, or what the people that call themselves manufacturers, you know what they're producing, what they're not.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so there are some that are trying to get the capability to make really nice flake, or blend their own, but they don't even have that capability.
Yep. No, that's special equipment and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So I either buying PS400 and renaming it, or painting a flavor on the top of it. Like,
yeah, a friend of mine reached out to me today to tell me he bought 5 pounds of 507C, and I was like, I really hate to tell you, but that's still available, and explained that whole thing, and he was really mad at me, and he told me I was a liar because 507C is listed as a pure Virginia flake, and the Peter Stokkebye one says that it has perique in it. So,
see, that's what's weird, because it definitely does not have perique.
It does not. Neither of them do. The Peter Stokkebye or the Sutliff.
Yeah, like, again, I've never smoked the 400, but I don't think it has perique in it, right? Like, they're just Virginians.
Yeah, I was going to do a reveal of that later, so I had gotten both on hand just to compare them, and there's not perique in either one. I don't know why Peter Stokkebye says there is.
Yeah, that's a misprint.
Because perique's a fun word to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really it's only made more fun when Mark Ryan says it.
Oh yeah, it's the best when Mark is gone.
It's so much fun when Mark says it. It makes my day. Actually, it does take my whole day normally.
It does take the whole day.
Not Mark, but it does take my whole day.
Love the man.
You haven't lived until you've watched Mark Ryan chase people down on the street to give them free perique.
Out of a garbage
The
bag.
thing is, there's not much chasing. You can walk slowly and get away. But
Oh yeah,
That's
he
true.
was handing out handfuls of it on the bus.
Yeah.
When you
Was
had
he
the,
really?
Yeah, when you had the bus back and forth to the hotel.
so,
Yep, good old Mark Ryan
All
with a
right.
garbage bag of perique handing it out.
Yep.
nice.
What a guy.
So,
So nice.
all right, guys, I got to get off.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you so much for coming on. Hopefully
course.
not one last time, but just in case, listeners, that might be it.
We'll see.
We'll
Time
get you
will
back.
tell. But, all right, guys, thanks a lot.
All right. Have a good
great
night.
Okay. Yep. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun.
Oh yeah,
And we're not done. We got other stuff to talk about.
we do.
We got a mail call.
Unfortunately, everybody's going to stop listening because Jeremy's gone, but we're going to try a mail call anyway.
We got a package.
Nice.
This package was sent to us. Well, sent to my home
As everything for the show is.
for the Greywoodie show by Robert Bailey. Robert Bailey is, I believe, was Briar and Plaid on
Briar and
Discord.
Plaid, yep.
And this was that. I'll let you read that. I'm going to hang that up.
Thank you, Nathan and Eugene, for making the pipe smoking community enjoyable. Feel free to say something on the Greywoodie show. Hope to see you in Richmond. Cheers, Robert. We're getting a lot of push to come to the Richmond show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Robert.
No, I'm not going. But here. So I pre-opened it. Okay.
Yeah?
And in it is stuff, some neat stuff.
Well, so for the listeners of the show who aren't on Discord, this ties into the fact that we did a covert Krampus.
Yep.
And so this package was included within a package.
So in this very nice round brown paper
Yeah.
is a tin of Kringle Flake.
Awesome.
And also,
Because somebody knows you didn't get your full allotment.
I did not. No, I haven't gotten my full allotment of anything, like, ever.
It's like this company was shutting down and...
Yep. There's a tin of McBaron Burley.
Oh, wow.
Big old guy right there.
Golden Brown Burley,
Oh wow.
2024 release. That's
I feel
super
like we were just talking about this. All right, I'm having all the fun opening the presents.
I'm really enjoying watching it.
So there's a little jar of tobacco.
Ooh, I know that label.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's go with Kendall Mayer's chocolate flake from 2018.
Oh, wow. A 2018 release of it.
Yep. Oh, next.
Yep, those are the beautiful... Oh, the crystals. Thank you, 2018, for time passing.
We also got a jar of Go With Full Virginia Flake from October 14th, 2018.
Wow. You've never had FVF, have you?
Never, ever. Nope. And the coolest thing in here came with a packet. We got sent a Julebach, which is a Swedish Yule goat.
Ooh.
And there's words, and I can't read. So, good thing there's pictures on each page. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what was going on here. But I can't. I'm not reading those. There you go. But I will show you the Yule goat. It's really cool.
Oh, wow.
And now I got to figure out where I'm gonna put it in here. I've been busy trying to get the studio in some semblance of shape for pretty much since we moved studios.
Yep.
And I'm making some progress. But
You are. It's getting there.
we have a Yule goat.
And I don't have... If I had known, I could have worn my Yule goat fez.
Oh, yeah.
As a symbol of the winter holiday in Scandinavian countries, the Julebach is a pagan Yule symbol most represented by a straw figurine of a goat, traditionally made from the last grain of the harvest, bundled in red ribbons and kept as a token of hope for the new year.
And that it is. It's very fancy. Keep going.
Okay. If you've ever spent holidays in Sweden, then you'd really recognize this common Christmas decoration. The Julebach, usually made out of straw and sitting on a table, but sometimes as a candle holder, an ornament in the tree, depicted on Christmas cards or tablecloths. It says clothes, tablecloths. Goats are largely associated with Christmas here in Sweden and many other European countries. There is even a famously gigantic Julebach made of straw that has been built in a town called Gavel every year since 1966, which measures 13 meters tall, 43 feet for us Americans, and is burnt down year after year. So yeah, the goat is burnt down every year, not the town.
The town's not burnt down?
Although this is not the intention of the Julebach, nor is it legal, it is an expected fate.
Oh, so it's illegal to burn a straw goat?
Yeah, I guess a 43-foot tall one in the middle of town.
Oh, whatever. It's just Sweden.
Yeah. There is a long story behind the Julebach which goes much deeper than the decorations we see today. The origin of the Julebach dates back to before Christianity in Scandinavia, from the worship of the Norse god Thor and his two goats, Tangjost och Tengrisner, that pulled his flying chariot.
You nailed that.
Yeah, I'm great. Later, the Julebach was depicted as a humanoid goat figure with horns and hooves, said to represent the devil, ensuring that people deserved their presence. This version of the Julebach was altered into a scary prankster who caused trouble and demanded gifts.
Huh.
Sounds like Krampus.
A little bit.
Julebachs being made of straw is nothing new, as it was always associated with the last harvest of the grain. It was once believed that the Julebach was only a spirit, and anything made of straw could be the Julebach. The spirit would check that the house was clean and the preparations were done correctly for the celebrations. For a long while, the Julebach was the one who would deliver and hand out the Christmas presents, an original Scandinavian Santa. This is the most widely accepted and known version of the Julebach. Just as someone in Swedish families dress up as Santa to give out the gifts to the children nowadays, the same was done back then. Dressing up as the Julebach for Christmas also included singing, acting, and pranks while wearing something like this. And that is where we get a very Krampus-esque, frightening costume.
Yeah.
During the 1800s, people would throw the straw-made Julebach back and forth, yelling, "Take the Christmas goat."
I'm not going to do that.
No. The straw goat was also passed between neighbors, hiding in each other's houses without it being noticed, in an effort to get the Julebach out of their own house.
Oh, it's all fun and games, a little B&E, huh?
Yep. I will be hiding that in your house.
Me too, right now. Well, that was a very nice and thoughtful gift. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the tobacco was amazing.
Yep. We really do have the best Discord.
Best Discord, best listeners. Once again, if you're not on our Discord, you might want to join it. It's where the fun happens.
Yep.
Krampus or Covert Krampus was a success this year. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Jen, for organizing and getting it all worked out.
She really is wonderful in every way.
Yeah.
And I love and miss her. She's at the store right now. I wish she would come home now.
The cute images when you sent your gift out and your gift was sent out. It was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what I was doing when I decided that I was keeping her forever. Yeah, she's great. What else was I going to talk about? That was pretty fun and happy in light of the whole first.
Yeah, it was a nice way to lift the episode back up.
All right, well, let me fix that. So quite a few of you already know. I think maybe we mentioned it on an episode, or we were going to. Eric Karlowski is not in great shape right now. His family let everyone know who tried to contact him today that he has begun hospice, and it's a struggle. Yeah. So I'm obviously struggling with this because I've known Eric as long as I've been in this industry.
Yeah, he was one of the first people you met.
Yep. And yeah, it just sucks.
Yep. At the time of recording, he had started hospice. We don't have any idea how long this will be. Whatever your faith allows, thoughts, prayers, however you show your support for people, providing things haven't changed, this is the time to do that as a group.
Yeah.
In terms of reaching out, they've asked that anybody from the Pipe Club or Pipe community talk to Sophia, who is a part of the Pipe Club, at 214-212-2703. That was publicly posted, so I'm just putting it out there. Don't burden his family right now with those needs, but if there's something you want to do for the Pipe Club and community and everybody he's touched, I think that's the way to do that right now.
Right. So that's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Lift it up before we bring it back down.
That's right.
Have a good week.
We live to serve. Good day.